Chinese President Xi is leaving for China for the first time since COVID to visit Vladimir Putin. So you have to ask yourself, would Xi really be betting on a horse that he thinks is going to lose? They have a pretty big surveillance system in China, don't we think? Would he let that happen? Joining me now is Congressman Jim Banks, chairman of the Republican Study Committee, and Victor Davis Hanson, senior fellow at the Hoover Institution. I'm going to get to the Russia-China alliance in a moment. But, Congressman, this has all been accelerated by Biden's handing the whole Russia and Middle East over to energy production. We've completely abandoned everything we had in our favor, and now Russia can run the show there.
Yeah, Joe Biden is the best thing that ever happened to Putin and Russia, and we're seeing that play out in real time. And if Russia ends up winning in Ukraine, there are two people that Putin should thank, Greta Thunberg and Joe Biden, because of the disastrous energy policies that they've enacted in the United States in the name of climate change and the Green New Deal. Remember that Joe Biden selling out America's foreign policy to China in the interest of climate change. Remember that Donald Trump was buying oil at $25 a barrel for the energy reserve, for the preserves. And now you have Biden is going to be $80 a barrel that he's going to spend to replenish it, and the taxpayers are the ones who are on the hook for it.
Well, at the same time, they were complaining on one of the other networks today. The oil company execs have to explain why they're making so much money. Do they not understand the law of supply and demand? When you shrink supply, there's going to be a lot more people going for that barrel of oil. I mean, do they not get that? Is that complicated for them? They caused it.
Clearly, the Democrats don't get it, and Joe Biden's responsible for it, and it's a shame, and Russia's emboldened because of it.
Now, Victor, I mentioned President Xi traveling outside of China for the first time since COVID. Why is that significant, and why is it significant that he's meeting for the first visit after COVID with Putin at this point in the Russia-Ukraine conflict?
Well, we're in a really critical stage now. The failed Thunder Road shock and awe was stage one. That failed, and then we went into a war of attrition. And now Ukraine, and I admire them, they're fighting heroically, but they're getting very close to the Russian border. And that raises the question that you have an alien dictator with 7,000 nuclear weapons, the world's largest arsenal. And there's some scenarios that we don't think about. Is he just going to say, I lost 100,000 dead, wounded, and missing, I'm sorry, we lost, and then quit? I don't think so. Is he going to say, I'm going to keep doing this and bleed out? I don't think so. Is he going to say, I'm going to draft 1 million Russians and we're going to have our huge army, we outnumber them, and we're not going to call it a special military operation, it's a real war? I don't think so. I think he's going to say that you're getting very close to the Russian border, you're hitting targets with NATO and American weapons inside Russia, you're attacking ships, and we're back to 1962, and he's going to do something dramatic, and we think he wouldn't dare do that. And that begs a question, Laura, is Ukraine under the American nuclear umbrella? It's not a NATO power, but there are people writing every day, some from the administration, some affiliated, some just independent, that act as if it is, and that we are pledged to defend Ukraine, I suppose, in a strategically scary fashion if Russia does something stupid and scary. So at some point, I think the Chinese and the Russians are figuring out what's the next step, and it could be very scary along 1962 Cuban Missile style. And I think we've got to stop it and take a deep breath, especially as we get near the midterms, because all of these things are accelerating in expectation of these midterms. Where are we, and what are our responsibilities?
Yeah.
And what's the dangers to the United States people?
Are the American people willing to go to nuclear war over Ukraine? I mean, that's a simple question, yes or no? And I would bet the answer to that question is no. I mean, it's horrible as people feel and much they want Ukraine to win. Congressman, we've talked a lot about an issue that was brought up at the White House today. John Kirby kind of tried to address it, but not really. Watch.
Given the fact that known adversary, in the case China, foreign buyers are buying up U.S. real estate, in some cases farms around military installations, is this on the administration's radar?
I think the question of home ownership is a little bit out of my swim lane.
Buying up land around military installations?
Yeah, I'm probably not the right person to ask about home ownership.
Congressman, I found that answer insulting and appalling. China is buying U.S. farmland near military installations. That man has no answer?
This should be alarming to every
Should be
single
outlawed.
American. It should be outlawed. House Republicans have prepared legislation introduced to outlaw that, to stop China from buying farmland and properties. Our biggest adversary buying up properties in America. It should be banned. And the White House, still to this point today, refuses to even call China an adversary and recognize it. And you see activities like these, it's insane. It's criminal that they continue to ignore it.
You take charge of the House. This is going to be a top priority. Congressman, thank you very much. Great to see you tonight. Victor, thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.